The Legend of Zelda. Oh my god, I fucking love this series so much. About a year ago, I made a video reviewing one of the most misunderstood Zelda games on the Wii, called Skyward Sword, and I had a blast with it. There were some minor bumps that made me vomit every now and then. Like, I would describe the game as going on a beautiful trip to the coast, but like, while I'm driving, I have to stop to take a shit every 2 hours because the laxative I took kicked in at the wrong time. Yeah, no, it wasn't great. Like, I had a good time, but it was kind of rough. But if you haven't watched that video, please do. I really, really want that video to get a little bit more traction. It's one of my favorite videos I made. In that video, I briefly mentioned another Zelda game that I grew up playing called Twilight Princess. And I played the absolute fuck out of this game on the Wii and GameCube growing up. So in the year 2000, there was this little event called Space World 2000, okay? And it was essentially a major convention, convention? What the fuck am I saying? Convention! Okay, so showing off the new games and consoles. Nintendo revealed the GameCube to the world and presented tech demos showcasing the graphical capabilities of this console. One of the most notorious demos was sort of a recreation fight of Ganondorf and Link from Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Oh! Goated game, by the way. And this showcase made all the people believe that we were gonna get this more badass, edgy Zelda, this darker, more grim Zelda. It was gonna be so fucking cool. It was gonna be awesome. And I wasn't born yet, so I couldn't be on the hype train. And then 2001 Space World, the reveal for the new Zelda game comes out. And what the fuck is this pussy kitty shit? Why is he a cartoon? This turned out to be Wind Waker, which in its own right is one of the most beautiful fucking games I've ever seen in my life. But that's not important right now, okay? We're talking about Twilight Princess. Move on 3 years later, E3 2004, Papa Miyamoto comes out of the smoke with a sword and a shield and reveals Zelda Twilight Princess. And everyone in the audience is creaming their pants out of just pure joy, okay? Finally! The Zelda game that we've always wanted. Fans were crying, shitting their pants, like me at the time, because I was like 2 years old when this happened. So, the game was slotted to release in 2005, but got delayed and released on 2006, and it was actually one of the last first-party games on the GameCube. Yeah, by this point, the Wii was making headway, and the game was one of the first-party games to release on the Wii. The differences in the versions are primarily just controls and a strange video flip. Essentially, people that played the game on the Wii were playing the game mirrored, because due to the majority of people in the world being right-handed, and Link is left-handed, so it'd be kind of awkward to swing your right hand and him using his left hand, and yada yada, you fucking get it. So you could play this game on either console, and honestly, I think it was a really interesting idea because games like these don't look that different from one another, and like functionally they seem to be just the same. It's just different playstyles. And I played both of them, but I tend to favor the GameCube version because, you know, the controls. I just like it better. I wonder if there is an updated version that takes the best of both worlds and holy fuck, why? Yeah, so in 2016 for the Wii U, the game was remastered and given an HD version. And this was impeccable. It was so fucking good. But I never got a Wii U. Never got a chance to play it. Apparently, this version didn't sell well due to the Wii U being a commercial flop, which is unfortunate because it seems like this is the best way to play the fucking game, by legal means, of course. And, you know, I have the GameCube version, so there's that. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, kick back, relax, and chill with me while I take you through The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. So the game opens up with Link and this old guy sitting at this pond, where he talks to you about this new mission that he was assigned to by the royal family. He decides to impart this mission onto you since you're much more younger and more handsome and have more uncanny riz. Then you saddle up to your day job of moving cattle. Yeah, this incarnation of Link is basically a farm boy / cowboy, sort of mixed between Bonanza and Princess Bride's Wesley. Like, he doesn't say, "Hya!" He goes, "Hyal." This motherfucker can skin a buck, run a trout line, because he's a country boy, and country boys can't survive. I just like to imagine this Link getting into bar fights and line dancing. I don't know, it's just so fucking goofy. It also doesn't help that the place he's located is literally the south of Hyrule. So like, how much more heck can you get? I'm gonna brand every single one of you motherfuckers you don't get in the barn. Y'all done got me fucked up. So after doing some fishing, slinging some shots, hanging out with a whole ass bird, escorting a pregnant woman to her home while holding her baby cradle. What's up? How you doing? Yeah, good talk. Yeah, this was the good old days before walking and talking was invented in games. Assassin's Creed came out a year later, so, you know. You go back home, and the old man leaves you a little present. A big wooden sword. Well, that's cool. You could show off your cool moves to these little kids that worship you like a fucking god. Except for the little one, though. I don't know. He freaks me out. I can never get a read on him. But then all of a sudden, a fucking monkey comes by and taunts one of the kids, causing him to chase the monkey. Okay then, alright. You go after him and then you go through some spooky caves and then you make your way out to this weird tree structure. I guess it's like a big old tree branch that like creates a fucking like weird pathway. I don't know, it's a weird world. The kid and the monkey are locked in a cage by these monsters. You save them by wrecking the monster's shit. Once they're free, the old guy commends you for your efforts and believes that you are truly worthy of this mission. And what is this mission, you might ask? I don't fucking know. I think it's just like delivering a sword to the princess as like a peace offering or something. I don't fucking know the history behind the land of Ordon and Hyrule. Frankly, I don't really give a shit. The next morning, you go to work and herd some more cattle. And this horse girl named Ilya chastises you for being rough with your horse. Which, you know what? Fair, but also fuck you, okay? There was a kid that needed help, okay? My horsey could take a few more clicks, okay? She was alright. But then she takes the horse to get it cleaned up. Okay, then whatever. One of the kids wants to borrow your wooden sword, and Link obliges and lets him play with it because I don't know why the fuck not. Who cares? You go back to the pond to check up on your horse and, what the fuck? Bitch, what do you think you're doing? That is my horse, okay? You are not locking me out of the horse. You are not taking half of my shit and locking me out of my fucking home. Fuck you, bitch. So this little dude named Colin feels bad. He's trying to explain to Ilya about what happened, but like, fuck, man. You crawl through this little tunnel. Bunch of fucking bullshit. Things I get for saving kids at fucking... Last time I ever save a kid again. Ilya notices you and finally apologizes and hears you out, and as she realizes that she was just being a helicopter parent. And then she makes you promise to come back home safely from your mission, and oh, that's so sweet. Oh, that's just such a tender moment. Holy shit, what the fuck is that thing? Yeah, some big goblin moblin creature thing pops in for a visit, shoots the horse girl, knocks your lights out, and kidnaps your friends. I'm sorry, what? Okay, talk about a tonal shift. A portal appears from the sky, and now you're a wolf. Okay? Now you get dragged into a cell, and a little imp girl starts to taunt you. She introduces herself as Midna, and promises to help you if you help her. You escape the cell and find yourself in a strange kingdom covered in like this weird fuzzy aura. And I'll explain that later. You climb up to the top of these rooftops and you meet up with this hooded figure who reveals themselves to be Princess Zelda. Zelda gives you the TLDR about what the fuck is going on. Okay, apparently this dude named Zant pulled up and, took over the castle while aura farming and blasting Fetty Wap from his JBL speaker. And also covering the land in darkness or Twilight, I guess. I don't fucking know. He gave her a choice, life or death. And she chose to surrender to save her people's lives. She then apologizes for having you involved in this whole situation, but then tells you to get out before the guards come. So, Midna teleports you to that old pond you were just at, and now you find yourself looking for weapons like a sword and a shield, because Midna wants a sword and a shield because she thinks she's gonna use them for some I don't know, You sneak around the old town that you once called home. This is actually a really cool section. It involves you being stealthy and talking to animals. This is really interesting. After playing Metal Gear for about 6 minutes, you make your way back to the pond, but this time a weird goat spirit guy appears and reveals some crazy details. So there are these 4 light guardians that are scattered across the land, and these Twilight monsters stole the light from them and kind of killed them or some shit. And with no spirits to keep the light on the world on, the world gets covered in darkness and people become spirits and lose their normal forms. However, the ability to become the alpha wolf that you are was given to you because you were chosen by the gods. What does that say? That means you're the alpha, okay? And nobody can tell you what to do.
I am now the alpha.
So it's up to Link to revive these light spirit guys so that the light can be brought back into the world and people can live a normal life again. In order to do this, you have to collect these tears of light, which are held by these bugs, by the way. You gotta hunt them down one by one. Essentially, Skyward Sword borrowed this concept with the trials, except this is a lot more bearable since there is no real punishment for getting touched by a fucking enemy. So you travel through the forest and chomp some bugs, do some parkour mechanics, and fight some Twilight monsters. After you collect all the tears of light, you finally transform back into a human and are given the task to explore this temple into the forest to obtain this dark power that got sealed away by the people that were, because people were gonna abuse it or some shit. But since shit is hitting the fan, you kinda need it to defeat Zant and save the world. As you travel along the forest, some monkey comes by and steals your lamp. Okay, what a dickhead. But he's actually using it to clear the way from this purple poison fog, so I guess that's nice. And then you bump into this weird golden wolf that jumps at you. Ow! Fucking what the fuck? All of a sudden, a badass looking skeleton with a sword and shield stares you down and teaches you the ability to finish off enemies. Okay, that's cool. Hell yeah, that's badass. Yeah, this guy is called the Hero Shade, and he's the spirit of the Hero of Time from Ocarina of Time in Majora's Mask. Let's fucking go! Okay! You move on to the Forest Temple, which is a pretty good starter temple. You collect the magical tornado boomerang called the Gale Boomerang from this big monkey with a fucking dump truck. Holy shit. You collect some heart pieces, rescue some monkeys, and move on to the dungeon. What the fuck am I saying? The boss of the dungeon, Audrey too. Dia Baba. His boss is, it's alright. You just use the boomerang to drag bombs into its mouth and then attack the eyeball sticking out of its mouth. Yeah, I don't know how the fuck that works, but you know what? We're not here to question, we're just here to observe. Anyways, you collect this thing called the Fuse Shadow and dab the fuck out. You travel to the Hyrule Field and make it to another wall and get sucked up back into the Twilight and find an old wooden sword stuck into the ground. Okay, use your big old sniffer to find the kids. Oh god, the sense of youth. Use your big old sniffer to find the kids and following a scent trail that leads you all the way to Kakariko Village, an old dusty town where you meet the light spirit there. Chop on some more bugs, collect more tears to revive them, because there's bugs scattered all over town, alright? And you search through buildings, digging up some holes, blowing up someone's home. Hopefully he qualifies for insurance because, okay, you know what? Then again, I'm not sure if an Allstate agent is going to buy that a wolf and a sassy imp blowing up your home to revive a weak-ass light god is going to hold up. So, yeah, no, the guy might be fucked. You sneak around into this building where you find the children and with a shaman guy. I guess he's essentially taking care of him for the time being. Oh, that's nice. That's a cool guy. This is actually a really tender moment since these kids really believe that Link is gonna come by and save the day. And it's really touching, and it makes me swell up. Like, actually, it's like a really beautiful moment. After reviving the light spirit, he tells you that the Gorons up in the mountain are in trouble and have been attacked by the Twilight monsters. So now Link must go up there and save the day. Alright, Link reunites with the kids and meets the shaman guy Ramnado. He talks about how the Gorons used to be good friends with everybody, but then all of a sudden they started hating them. I wonder why they suddenly changed their hearts. Maybe perhaps because they've been corrupted. Anyways, Link tries to climb up the mountain, but then gets shit on by a Goron spin dashing down the hill. Well, fuck! Oh, what the fuck do we do, Renato? Because I sure as hell can't catch him. If only there was a way I could catch him without falling on my ass. Oh shit, there is a way. Yeah, the mayor of your hometown Ordon village is actually a fucking wrestling master. What? You go back to the village and talk to the mayor about the situation, and he trains you in the art of sumo wrestling. Okay, what the actual fuck is going on? So you spar with him and he gives you the iron boots, and then you make your way back to Kakariko Village. The same pig dude from a while back comes back and is about to hit one of the kids. But the cool kid, Colin, comes in and saves her. But then he ends up getting kidnapped too, so who gives a shit? Okay, well. Don't worry, little dude, I'm coming! Okay, yeah, no, now you're just being a dick. You go horseback slashing in Hyrule Field, cut up some of these gobblers, and then make your way up to the bridge where you go out and where you go one-on-one and jousting with the captain. Okay, can we just take a moment to appreciate how fucking cool this setup is? Like, genuinely. Every time I get to this section, I fucking squeal like a little fangirl. Because it's just so raw. It's just so fucking cool. This game does everything it can to have really epic moments like this. It's like the game is constantly trying to make Link look like a badass action hero in a movie, like fucking Jason Statham. Like, it's just so badass. You do some jousting and slash him the fuck up and save Colin and do some aura farming. This shot makes me so horny. Colin wakes up and says that one day he will be a hero and grow up big and strong just like Link. Oh, that's so funny. He thinks it's gonna happen. Buddy, you see, you're a side character, all right? You are not the chosen one. Anyways, you make your way back up to Death Mountain, and these boots were made for wrestling. And that's just what they'll do. I gotta say, being able to chuck a Goron off a mountain has gotta be one of the most alpha male shit I have ever seen in this franchise. Climb up to the tippy top of the mountain while avoiding a massive rock from caving in on you. Ooh, that's a bit of a hot rock. I wonder if that's gonna be important later. You shield check a Goron until he turns into a ball, then you climb up to him, then he launches you up, and away. Once you make it up to the top, there's a whole troop just waiting for you. And then there's a chief that challenges you to a sumo match. Alrighty, yeah, let's go fucking sumo wrestling. Let's go. Ah, fuck. Yeah, forgot to put my boots on. Okay, look, I know the boots carry you in the fight, but the fact that Link is even able to, like, push these guys is still insane to me. Once you beat the chief, he allows you to go into the Goron mine and asks you to eliminate all of the evil in there. And it seems like one of their leaders is already in there being taken over by the Twilight. But they're not nearly strong enough to snap him out of it, but I guess a small human is? Okay, whatever. This is the second dungeon of the game, and it's a pretty good one to say the least. You acquire the bow and you use the iron boots to walk up the walls, using magnetic physics to traverse the dungeon. The puzzles are pretty good to say the least. Overall, it's a great time. I like it. You fight a mini-boss, which is one of the Gorons covered in armor. You just gotta use your boots to stick to the ground and then slice him up. Cool. And then the final boss of the dungeon, his name is Twilight Igniter? Fyrus? I don't fucking know. Funnily enough, he's actually way easier than the previous boss. You just shoot him in his big glowing forehead and grab the chain that he's connected to and trip him like a bully. And then slash away on him till he screams uncle. Once he's defeated, he transforms back into a normal old Goron. Then you obtain the second Fuse Shadow. So the next objective now is to find the Lanayru region. And it's covered in Twilight, so now you gotta go Awu again. Great. On your way, you find Ilya's bag and you use that big old sniffer to track the scents. Forget the sense of youth. You know what? I think I will. Like Toucan Sam, you follow your nose all the way to Castletown, where everyone is a spirit. Shit, I don't know what Zelda was talking about. It seems like everyone's living their lives just fine here. Not a care in the world, you know, but, you know, they're a little glowy, a little spooky, but, you know, they seem fine. You reach this tavern where Ilya is tending to a young Zora fish kid who is like gravely injured. And then you overhear about a spirit that lives in Lake Hylia. And Midna is like, oh yeah, we should probably go there to eat more bugs. Cool, okay. You come across this bridge where a little moblin shoots a fire arrow behind you. Hey, where'd you learn to aim, dipshit? You suck! Oh man, you shot another one? Oh my god, bro, dude. You keep overshooting and undershooting. Bro, how bad are you? Oh fuck! Probably the only appropriate time to ever jump off of a bridge. You then land in Lake Hylia, and you find out that the river in Zora's domain has been frozen over. Well, damn, that sucks. There's a little bastard that calls for a Twilight bird, and then you fight him, but he's a little pansy bitch. You then use this thing to fly all the way up the river, and then you land in Zora's domain. Okay, cool. Where you gotta climb up and up and up until the game flips you off and makes you fall down. Great. Like I said before, Zora's domain is completely frozen over, and we need to talk to whoever the leader is, because everyone's frozen. So if only there was a way we could take something so heavy and so hot that could melt this really, really thick, dense ice, and I don't know, maybe a giant hot rock, or... Oh yeah, Death Mountain's got that hot rock you can warp into the ice and then it melts, causing the whole water to flush back out and give the people fresh water once again. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, and the Zoras can finally go back home and everything, so that's nice. And the Queen of Zoras appears in like a spirit form, and she actually thanks you for saving her people from being, forever frozen as popsicles. Oh yeah, by the way, this bitch died by Zant, because Zant killed her. Was like, I'm gonna take you to Twilight Town, bitch. And then proceeded to fucking murder her. And then she set her son off, who was the prince. And, oh yeah, no, that's that Zora kid that Ilya's taking care of, by the way. Oh, everything's wrapping up and making sense now. That's cool. She fears that he may be in trouble and asks to save her. And she'll reward you with an item that gives you the ability to swim underwater. Well, that's neat. Okay. You make your way down the river and head off to the spirit residing in Lake Hylia, who gives you more tears to collect. And you travel all over Lake Hylia and the river and Zora's domain and get the bugs. And what the fuck? Why is there one all the way in Castletown? There is no fucking way that this bug migrated all the way across the country. You mean to tell me that this entire separate region, right? You mean to tell me that it went all the way down there? Backtrack all the way to Castletown, get a hold of this bug, and wait, hold on, this isn't the last one. What the hell? Where the fuck is the last? It's okay. It's all the way back in Lake Hylia. Are you fucking kidding me? Okay, fine. You then warp back there and you go find the big bug. Okay, cool. All right, fine. We're gonna fight this last one, kill him, and then the boss fight's actually kind of annoying because you're surrounded by water, and pouncing it is like a 50-50 shot of actually hitting the fucking thing. After you kill it, the spirit is revived and drops some more lore on you. Whew. Okay. So a long time ago, when the goddesses created the land and people, there was this light, okay? And people were fine with it being light, and it was cool. But then word got around about this thing called the Sacred Realm. The Sacred Realm is a magical place that the gods are from, by the way. So the people fought over it, and the dark tribe of sorcerers that used the magical dark thing called the Few Shadow essentially was trying to use it for bad stuff, okay? That essentially the thing that we're looking for right now to fight against Zant. This dark tribe was abusing the power, and the goddesses said, no, you're not doing that. Light spirits, go seal them away and call them a little bitch. So then what happened was they sealed the tribe away into the Twilight Realm, and then the spirit tells you that, oh yeah, no, the Few Shadow is not good for anybody, and we're not going to let anybody use it. So we're going to seal it into these temples so no one can find it. The spirit guy warns you of what this Few Shadow can do to you if you're not responsible with it. He then tells you the last piece is at the bottom of the lake. So now you got to go swimming for it. Okay then. So, oh yeah, by the way, the land is no longer covered in Twilight since you revived all the spirits. So now you don't have to be a wolf no more. So you make your way all the way down to Castletown in the tavern, and you see Ilya, but she seems like she's got amnesia and doesn't remember you at all. Well, shit. I guess this will be a plot point later. Great. So the Zora kid's having a hard time being taken care of since the doctor isn't great at performing on people that are not humans. But this big-breasted woman named Telma takes notice of you and realizes that you know Ilya, but she doesn't know you. So what's going on here? So she has the idea to bring the Zora kid to the Kakariko village, since Renato is able to perform miracles on beings like Gorons and Zoras. Okay, alright, but they need an escort to take him there, since Hyrule Field is so dangerous to travel through. Link takes this task on, and you escort them while taking on monsters, horseback riding. That's sick. It's a pretty cool segment, but there's this moment where you have to fight the captain guy again. But this time, he's got armor on to protect him from slashes, and it seems that he's learned his lesson this time. You just shoot arrows at him at the right time and knock him down. Fun segment of the game, but definitely was not my favorite part when I was a kid. But that was also because I was playing on the Wii, and, you know, aiming with a fucking Wiimote sucks dick. Anyways, so once you make it back to Kakariko Village, Renato takes the Zora kid under his care. And there's a really good moment where Telma talks about how the morale of people of Hyrule is at an all-time low, and people have given up hope. And she sees that you are the key to saving this land and inspiring good, and asks for your help in saving Hyrule. I gotta say, this is definitely the most epic story when it comes to showing off the heroic nature of Link. Seeing people that really believe in him and are putting their faith into him is really just quite awesome, as well as Link giving kids and other people around him the ability to rise above the sadness in this dreary world. Like, it's genuinely great writing, honestly. Rouletta calls back to you and shows you the way to the sacred grave, and she gives you the Zora armor. I guess it's like the grave of her husband, and her husband had like the Zora armor or some shit, whatever, I don't really know. Anyways, so this allows you to breathe underwater with ease. Awesome! And now we move on to the dungeon that many people seem to like, but one that I actually have hated with a burning passion since the time I was a young lad. I fucking hate this place so much. The Lake Bed Temple. I hate this dungeon so much. I found myself getting lost in this massive circle room with a staircase quite frequently, because everything looks the fucking same, with multiple levels making this more difficult to traverse. I will not lie to you guys, I suck at this dungeon's puzzles, okay? This is like my kryptonite. In any other Zelda game, I can handle puzzles relatively well, okay? But in this one, they really make you think outside the box a little bit. But like, the puzzles in this dungeon are fine. I just found myself spending over 2 hours in this dungeon, when realistically, it should take you only 45 minutes to beat this fucking place. But regardless, you know, you could say skill issue and you would be 100% correct. Genuinely, I know this hurts to say, me personally, but I felt like an IGN reviewer. It was that bad. I found it insanely tedious up until you get the claw shots. Once you get the claw shot, oh my god, the dungeon is pretty fucking straightforward and easy. Because, like, you're able to actually get to wherever you need to go. And it's so much easier. So there's also this frog boss that you fight. He's whatever. And then you fight the final boss, which is actually a pretty epic fight in a very like large underwater room. But it does feel like it kind of drags on because you're like using water physics to like swim around and everything. And it's kind of like I don't really like that part, but whatever. Maybe that's just my problem because I struggled so hard with this boss, and I don't want to knock it down because I'm bad at it, but I will say that I did not have a great time with this dungeon, okay? All I'm going to say is that I would rather play the Water Temple in Ocarina of Time over this any day, okay? Alright, we got the last few Shadow. Now it's time to... Oh, hey, what's up, Zant? Ah! Oh god, okay, randomly appears. Zant randomly just appears, and the spirit tries to attack Zant. But Zant just says, get that pussy shit out of here. I don't want to fucking deal with you. He knocks you out and turns you into a wolf again. And then he also puts this stone in you, and I guess it permanently keeps you as a wolf for the time being. Midna tries to tend to your wounds and then struggles against Zant, and he reveals that his power is not necessarily the same power from the old tribe years ago. Oh yeah, you see, he is a descendant of the dark tribe of evil sorcerers, by the way, that got sealed away in the Twilight realm. He's a descendant of those guys, but he reveals that the great power that he has is it's not from them, okay? It's not from those guys. It's from a different individual. I wonder who it is. He tells Midna that his power comes from someone else and who he claims to be the real king of Twilight. He tries to reason with Midna and asks her to join her in the efforts of covering the land in Twilight and exacting revenge on this world for how their people were treated so long ago. Granted, his people were douchebags back in the day, but, he's evil, so there's no real logic here. Midna refuses once again, and he decides to take the spirit of light from the spirit guy, I guess, or whatever, and literally just, inject it into Midna, which is like pouring a bottle of Everclear into a baby's mouth. Not a great fucking idea. The spirit teleports them out of there, and Midna is, on the verge of death. So now your next objective is to take Midna all the way to Zelda, because Zelda could potentially save her from dying. You make it all the way back up to the castle, but you gotta go through the bars since there's a pathway that leads directly to the castle from there. This whole segment is honestly beautiful, with the music playing in the background, and Midna's Lament is easily one of the best tracks in the franchise. This sense of urgency is so profound. When I was a kid playing this game, I really thought she was gonna die. Once you make it to Zelda, Midna asks her to lift the curse that Zant put on you and keeping you as a wolf. Zelda tells you that the power of the curse comes from a different source of darkness and cannot easily be lifted like the Twilight can be. I wonder whose power Zant is using. And this power that he is using against you must be expelled by an item blessed by the gods, and it's hidden deep in the woods of the Sacred Grove. So Zelda transfers her life force into Midna and allows her to be able to live among the world of light. The castle itself is sealed off by this big yellow crystal. So the next goal now is to reach the Sacred Grove and retrieve the Master Sword. Once you make it all the way back to the forest, you can go through some parkour ledges, fight some monsters, and you make it to the Lost Woods where Skull Kid runs around and is playing his little trumpet and summons these puppets. It's a really awesome section that makes me feel extremely validated for being an Ocarina of Time fanboy. You finally make it to the most notorious puzzle of the game. It takes about 40 minutes to complete because of how fucking annoying it is. Oh no, I fucked this puzzle. Once you open the door, the Master Sword is there, and it is beautiful, shining in all of its glory. And once you touch it, curse that was placed upon you is now lifted, and now you're free to take your new blade. Ooh, goody, goody, goody. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, fuck, I love this sword. Every time I get this in a Zelda game, I just get so emotional. I just love it. It's such a fucking cool sword. This blade purifies the dark magic that is placed upon you and shoots that little gem out of you. So I guess Midna can also use this thing to put into Link, so you can swap between human and beast form at will. Okay, that's pretty cool. Also brings up the idea to find this ancient mirror that essentially acts as a portal to the Twilight realm, and that it might lead them straight to Zant. So the next goal now is to find the Mirror of Twilight. Okay, cool. So you head back to the tavern and talk to Telma, and she introduces her to her friends. This merry band of misfits have this map of the land, and they give you directions of where the fuck this mirror is. It's in the desert, and the only way to get there is to be launched out of a fucking cannon. Okay, what? So Link gets shot out of the fucking cannon over at Lake Hylia. I guess there's this guy that's who's autistic about cannons and has a fetish about them. So you get into the cannon, shot out of it completely, and you land into the Gerudo Desert, where you make your way through this camp that has moblins that slay away some monsters, and you go piggyback riding until you reach this place called the Arbiter's Grounds, which I love this section. It's so fun to sneak up on these guys and scope them out with your bow. It's so fucking cool. Now, this dungeon is okay, to say the least. You have to find these ghosts and kill them and light up these torches in order to open this door. It's essentially the Forest Temple from Ocarina of Time, but it's in a pyramid desert-like thing, so cool. But you do get to ride on top of a Beyblade and keep it as an item, which is really cool, actually. Definitely one of the most unique items in the series. Its uses are very limited, but it's still goofy nonetheless. The boss of this dungeon is pretty sick, though, too. You get to spin around this column and let it rip on this big skeleton head. I don't know, something about fighting Stalfos and skeletons are just so fun. Once you make it to the end of the dungeon, though, it takes you all the way up to the top of this area where you find the mirror, and you find out it's broken. Sorry, Midna, your mirror's broke. Ah! Ghost! Oh so these spooky spirits are known as the sages, and these guys, I guess, are just responsible for making sure things don't get fucked up with the sacred realm. And they reveal what happened to the mirror. They tell a story about a man who was filled with pure evil and malice, and that man's name is Ganondorf. Okay, so in case you guys don't know, Ganondorf is the main series bad guy for most of the game, so, you know, there's that. So apparently, Ganondorf is a king of thieves from the Gerudo Desert, and he has a bad history of crashing the fuck out against Hyrule. Like, all the time. Like, I want to say every 100 years, this motherfucker's coming back and causing issues. And so, this time, he's getting executed for his crimes against Hyrule. But since he has the Triforce of Power, he breaks out and actually kills one of the sages. But before Ganon could kill all of the other sages, they use the Mirror of Twilight to send him to the Twilight Realm, so he cannot harm anyone else in Hyrule again. Cool, so we're just gonna deport this motherfucker to a separate realm so we can cause havoc in that one. Anyways, but it seems that Ganondorf has given the power to Zant, and he was the one responsible for breaking the mirror so that he can't be sent back, I guess. I don't know. The game story is kind of weird. It tells the story in a way that it's like trying to constantly keep a mystery going rather than just telling the player what the fuck is going on. So I'll get into this later because there are some minor issues I have with the overall plot. So the sages tell Link that the mirror is broken into 4 pieces, and you must collect the last 3. One is hidden in the Snowy Mountain, 1 is hidden in the Sacred Grove, and 1 is in the sky. How the fuck is it in the sky? What the fuck? What? How? How is it in the sky? So I guess it's time for us to go on another quest. Or just 3 dungeons, because now we found out how the formula of this game works, and yada yada. Anyways, the merry men of misfits at the tavern point out another spot on the map that leads you to the Lanayru region. But it's by this Arctic-like section. It's like sort of like this mountainous region. And apparently there's a wild beast out there that's eating red fish. And the only way to fish for this fish is to go fishing for this fish to fish out the beast with the fish. Okay, not really. You just go out and catch the fish and then get it set and then hunt it down. But he's actually just an abominable snowman that's like a really chill guy. Like, he's actually really cool. He invites you over for dinner and actually offers to show you his pretty new mirror he found for his wife. A mirror, you say? Well, yes, I would do. Yes, I'd be delighted to see this new mirror you have. You go snowboarding down this trail, Sonic Adventure style, and make your way up to his mansion. Well, goddamn, brother, you got a pretty sweet-ass place. I mean, the monsters and ice demons could, be a little nicer, but you know what? It's not my place to judge you on your lifestyle, okay? This man even offers you soup. Like, this dude is so fucking cool. You meet his wife, and she seems pretty sick, and her husband has been trying to take care of her, but it seems like she's having a hard time recovering. Oh, man, that sucks. Sorry. So about that mirror, you got that lying around here somewhere? So she actually offers to give it to you, but you gotta travel through the whole mansion to find it. And she keeps leading you at the wrong places, cause, well, this bitch has got Alzheimer's, okay? She keeps forgetting where the fuck it's at. Every time you think you found it, it's just another ingredient for this badass soup old boy is making. I gotta say, this dungeon is great. I mean, just a blast. I love how unique it is. It feels like a military base with all these cannons and like cannonballs and like all kinds of crazy shit. You even get this ball and chain weapon that you spin around with the strength of Hercules, and you're just chucking iron at these ice guys. It's genuinely a great time. Definitely one of my favorites in the game, and it's got a good vibe to it. Now, after the soup is perfected, the lady starts to actually remember where the mirror is. She takes you to her room where she glances at it and admires it. Aw, how sweet. What the fuck? Oh shit, the fuck, this bitch is crazy. So yeah, the mirror corrupted her and turned her into like a feral fucking Smeagol. And now you gotta fight her. Lady, I don't want to fight you. You're a really nice host. I mean, damn it. Spin that ball and break the ice and knock her ass down. The evil leaves her body and her husband comes by to comfort her. But their love actually creates a heart container and summons a fuckload of hearts as well. Oh, that's just beautiful. That's just fucking, oh man, that makes me believe in love again. You take the piece of mirror and dab out back to the tavern where the next mark is at the Sacred Grove. But this time it's hidden around the Master Sword pedestal. In fact, you actually have to put the Master Sword in the pedestal to unlock a door that leads you to the Temple of Time, where the next mirror piece is. Ooh, me likey. Okay, cool. The whole aesthetic of this area just makes the inner Ocarina of Time fanboy in me get giddy with excitement, and it just doesn't disappoint. I mean, this dungeon rocks. Like, I fucking love it. Like, this might actually be my favorite in the game. It just feels so right, from the aesthetics to the puzzles to the enemy choices like Dark Nuts, and it just feels so good. I don't know how to really explain it. Like, it's not too short, but it doesn't overstay its welcome. The item you get also allows you to control statues. Okay, I love this mechanic. I know it's like a super situational like type of like item, you know, like the Beyblade, but it's still like it's still so cool. All right, everybody, meet my new best friend Phil. Okay, he'll be joining us for the remainder of this dungeon. So you can make Phil smash monsters with a big hammer, but be careful because he might hit you two on accident. Ah!
Oh shit, man, I'm sorry, you good?
Oh yeah, no, I'm fine, man. That's my bad for getting in the way. However, I will say the final boss of the dungeon is this armored spider named Armagoma or some shit. Yay! How original. Not like I fought spiders before. But this time you get to control statues and make them slam into it. So, you know, that's cool at least. Overall, my favorite dungeon of the game. But least favorite boss. God damn it, Phil, I'll miss you. I miss you so much. So once you collect a piece of mirror, you head back to the tavern, and Telma tells you that there's this nerdy dude named Shad, and he's over at Kakariko Village studying how to get to the sky. Apparently, there's a rod that you can use to control statues, but it's all dried up. So the rod I got from the previous dungeon is a little dry, and I can't use it anymore. Okay, well, great. Now it's fucking useless. Now it's just wasting my inventory space. That's cool, I guess. And so Shad talks about how this statue that he's looking at is the key to getting to the sky, but there's some kind of password or phrase, and I guess Ilya somehow knows about this password, because when she got saved from the monsters, the person who saved her was talking about an item called the Rod of Heavens. Okay, all right, whoa, Ilya, are you sure they're not referring to their penis? Because I have trademarked that name, and if I find out who took it, there's gonna be a fucking lawsuit waiting. Anyways, so our goal now is to jog her memory back in, so we can move forward with the mission. And apparently, the doctor from Castletown owes Telma a lot of money, and I guess she tells you to use that against him, to get him to actually do his fucking job. Okay, but he just freaks out and tells you that there might be an object that she would have had, that if she sees it, it might jog her memory. Okay then, so I guess some potent ass meds got spilled over this object and you gotta use your big ol' sniffer to track it down. Apparently some monsters took it and they're just chilling outside of Castletown. Okay, low-key, I'm just imagining like the monsters huffing this wooden carving and getting high as fuck off of it. And then all of a sudden some pissed off twink comes by and just starts stabbing and cutting them all for it. Man, Hyrule has not been the same since the Fent Crisis. Holy shit. Anyways, you take it back to Ilya, and now she remembers apparently there's a hidden village that she ended up in, and the person who saved her is still there and might be in trouble. So you head on down there, and oh my god, was all of this padding worth it, because this section is so fucking awesome. Easily my favorite part of the game. This is the hidden village. Now imagine Link in a dusty old Wild West town, and all of a sudden, a swarm of moblins at every corner, and the only thing you have is your trusty wits and your determination. Oh my god, the music just amplifies it so much, dude. The Hidden Village music is a beautiful mix of whimsical fantasy and old Wild West cowboy. And it makes me so hard. I mean, the erection I had from killing 20 of these motherfuckers cannot be overmeasured. I was at full mast the entire time. Oh my god, this entire section perfectly encapsulates everything I love about this game. So much. Remember what I said about this game being an epic story and showing off the action hero style of Link. it just really, like, this entire section just solidifies it. It's so badass. After the beautiful fight, Link knocks on the door and finds an old woman named Impaz or whatever. It's supposed to be reference to Impa from the rest of the series. She tells you about how the village was once a peaceful one, but then monsters came by and raided it. Well, ma'am, I do declare they ain't gonna be bothering you anymore. I done took them out one by one. Now let me see if I can hold one of these kitties. She then gives you this whistle to give to Ilya. Head back to Kakariko, and Ilya has her memory completely restored now. She then reveals that this whistle was made by her as a gift to you, so that you can call your horse from anywhere. Well, shucks. Alrighty, that was a tender moment. Alright, alright, let's go. Alright. But oh wait, I gotta go back to the hidden village and show the old lady my old little rod of heavens, if you know what I mean. So then she is shocked when she sees my heavenly rod. And she tells me that the key to reaching the sky is this book. And okay, so she gives me this book and I take it to the fucking nerd down underground by the sanctuary. And then he sees it and he's like, oh, there's these letters missing. Reveals some kind of password. Oh, but they're hidden around the world somewhere. Great. So now I gotta run around Hyrule and find these fucking words. Turns out I didn't have any blue chew to fix my rod, since saying the password rejuvenates it. Okay, that's cool. So this definitely is a case of padding, since I cannot for the life of me understand what this actually does for the plot. And I'm not entirely a fan of this section, I'm gonna be honest with you. So it just feels kind of unnecessary. After you collect every single words or letter or characters or bullshit for this fucking password, you turn to the statue and completely dominate it. Then this takes you to a room where you find a massive fucking chicken walker cannon. What the hell? So Midna has this idea to warp it to Lake Hylia and show it to that one guy who's very autistic about cannons. In fact, he's like, hey buddy, listen, if you let me work on that, pay me 300 rupees, I'll fix it up for you and watch you go out of the sky. Be real nice, wouldn't it? Sure thing, stranger. See, he rebuilds the whole fucking thing. You'll get yourself into the cannon, launches you out, and then you are in the City of the Sky, which is the final location of the final piece of Mirror. Great. Okay, so I gotta say this dungeon's got some pretty neat puzzles, and you get to unlock another claw shot. So now you're fucking Spider-Man. That's cool. Let's fucking go. And I will say that it does, and I'll say this, the dungeon does feel like it kind of drags on with how slow some of these sections are, and with some bullshit dinosaur like pterodactyl flying things that come around and fuck with you all the time. It's kind of dumb, and you know, I would like to kill them, but my aim is so ass that the hit detection's really wonky on the arrow when it comes to long distances. So you know, I felt like this dungeon was just a tad of a slog, but a great concept. This definitely laid the foundation for Skyward Sword Sky Islands. I also thought the boss was pretty neat, even though he was a little tedious to kill him. It did feel satisfying to hop on top of his back and just stab him over and over again. Oh my god, it was so cool. We now have the final piece of Mirror of Twilight. So let's hop in the... Whoa, okay. Well, this place is like a little dreary. Okay, this is a little depressing. What the fuck? We are currently in the Palace of Twilight. It's a pretty good dungeon, to say the least. You gotta grab these glowing balls and bring them all the way outside, since they power up these mechanisms that open the doors to actually enter the palace, or like the throne room, or whatever the fuck it is. One thing I really appreciate about this place is the Twilight aesthetic. I like how this is sort of like the polar opposite of the whimsical fantasy, where the light side is like this medieval fantasy style, and the Twilight is essentially like a dark, gritty science fiction vibe. It's really cool. They contrast very, very well. And the Master Sword gets a really cool golden glowing effect later on in the dungeon, and it reminds me of A Link to the Past when you fully upgrade your sword. It's just really, really fucking cool. Once you make it to the end, you take on Zant himself, and he confirms that Ganondorf did in fact give him his power, and is using him for his quest of vengeance against Hyrule. But it's not like Zant didn't want it, okay? As a kid, I didn't really care for Zant because he wasn't Ganondorf. But upon playing this as an adult, I can actually appreciate the level of effort they took to make him his own character. I really feel like he was the perfect villain for this kind of story. how a man who lost all hope and good in the world has decided to take it upon himself to seek dominance to quote-unquote help his people. Yeah, he's evil and going about it the wrong way, but like he's a fucking bad guy, and that's just how they usually are, okay? My man goes from like calm, collected villain to maniacal whack job with the way he fights. And the boss fight is really great. Like, he cycles through all of the previous boss fights that you fought beforehand, but specifically the ones that were directly involved with Twilight, implying that he truly was the one pulling the strings behind every single encounter. And once he runs out of ideas, he just starts getting desperate and just starts ferociously attacking you. And the level of detail in this fight is so insane. This could have been the perfect final boss fight. The perfect final boss fight. But no, because we still got one more dungeon. After you defeat Zant, he tells you that no matter how many times you beat him, he will be revived once again by Ganon, so it's pointless to face him. They take the Fuse Shadow and leave. Once they make it to the castle, Midna uses the Fuse Shadow to turn into like a spider-looking creature to shatter the crystal barrier that surrounds the castle. Then now you can enter it. That's cool. Okay, I like the little I like the aesthetics of like the spider creature that Midna turns into. It's really sick. So all right, so now we are on to the final dungeon. It's essentially running through the castle and exploring the rooms. The puzzles are great, and the enemies you face are awesome, like battling a bunch of Dark Nuts, a bunch of lizard guys with swords, and the music is also a new rendition of the Hyrule Castle theme from A Link to the Past. Oh my god, I feel so validated for being a Zelda fan right now. Oh my god, it's so horny. There is a moment where you face off against the Captain Moblin for the final time, and he shows back, and once you beat him again, he finally accepts defeat and leaves. And he says that he only follows the strongest, implying that you probably have surpassed his master. Huh. Okay, that's pretty interesting to do for just a one-off monster. I mean, you took him and turned him into a spiteful rival, but at least he's got some kind of honor to know when he's outclassed, I guess. Pretty cool. Like, that's pretty fucking interesting, actually. I've never really seen a Zelda game actually do something like that. You also get to bump into the merry band of misfits. They, kill some monsters and help you out. Oh, it's so cool, man. Like, it feels so cool, all right? Like, it's just, something about this is just so, like, wholesome. It just, like, it feels like a nice little wrap-up near the end of a movie. Like, it's so cool. All right, time for the final frontier. And I gotta say, it was awesome, but narratively a little dumb. So let's get through it, all right? So Ganondorf is chillaxing in his throne room like a baller, and he reveals that Zelda's body is floating above. He then possesses her body and uses her to play a dangerous game of tennis. Okay, that's pretty cool. Once you beat her, he then leaves her body and transforms into a pig form. Dark Beast Ganon. And the fight is alright. You shoot him with some arrows, slash his tummy, until he stops falling for it. And then you gotta go woo and use Midna's massive hand to wrestle him down. Okay, that's fucking sick. That's cool, okay? You chomp on his tummy a couple times and then he finally dies. Okay, alright, cool. Midna gives back the life that Zelda gave her beforehand, and now Zelda is technically revived, but she disappeared, so like I didn't think that she would have a body after. I don't fucking know, this is so weird. But then all of a sudden Ganon thinks that he's a fucking Wizard of Oz and says, no, you're catching the spooky fade. And then Midna uses the Fuse Shadow to turn into the big spider and throw legs with Ganon. Cool. She then teleports Zelda and Link out into Hyrule Field, but Midna loses the fight and Ganon is now on his noble steed holding the fused shadow, implying that he fucking killed her. That's it, motherfucker. We're going horseback riding. Zelda takes the spirits and uses their power to create light arrows, and she takes aim while you're essentially slashing at Ganon and fighting a bunch of his enemies out in Hyrule Field while riding a horse. Okay, fucking cinema. This is just so cool. This is, oh my god, I'm too horny. I'm too horny. Ganon gets too many ouchies, and then he says, all right, let's run the fade one more time, but with our blades. Ganon blocks you in, and ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that I used to do. I used to replay this fight so many times as a kid, because this was the most hype shit that Zelda fans had at the time. We got to clash blades with Ganon, okay? This was so fucking cool. Now, I know that Wind Waker technically did this first, and the story significance of that was actually better written in comparison, but to this, though, we got a dark, gritty, badass fight that fans were clamoring for since Space World 2000, okay? This fight did not disappoint. In fact, it was kind of annoying, actually. You really have to use the skills that the Hero Shade taught you from your training sessions, like the back slice and the finishing blow. And oh my god, it was so fucking cool! You stab Ganon right into his tummy, and then he tries to walk it off. And then all of a sudden, Zant appears. And he's like, oh, okay. Hey, what's up, Zant? And then he just goes, breaks his fucking neck. Just breaks his fucking neck, and then now Ganon's like, I guess officially dead. Okay, then. I guess Zant had a change of heart, but whatever. Midna is revealed to still be alive as she transforms back to original. God damn! Holy shit! This bitch got hot for no reason. Yeah, Link seems to be happy that she's alright, and they end up at the Mirror of Twilight, where Midna says goodbye, and thanks to Zelda and Link for all that they have done. And she almost confesses something deep to Link, but then she goes back to the Twilight Realm, and shatters the mirror to dust, preventing anyone from interacting between the realms for good. Bittersweet ending to say the least, but a fine one. So that was the story of Twilight Princess, and I gotta say, this was definitely a roller coaster of good and a little bad. When it comes to the story, for the most part, it's pretty solid with amazing moments, but some of the moments feel like kind of cheapened by the ending. Like, okay, like, I get that they had to have Zelda come back to life at the end, but her sacrifice would have been so much more powerful if she would have just stayed dead. But, like, they never really explain how, like, what happened to Zelda when she gave up her life for Midna. Like, they say that she gave her everything to Midna, but, like, what the fuck does that actually mean? There are moments in the story where things just kind of happen with no real explanation, and you sort of have to come up with your own headcanon and theories. But that's also, like, part of the course for Zelda games, though. Like, I can't knock it too hard, but it's also an example of, like, somewhat lazy writing. I also feel like they completely shafted Zant at the end, and I really feel like he should have been the final boss that this game deserved. Ganon is a great villain, don't get me wrong, but his inclusion definitely felt a little forced into the story. The guy had, like, maybe, like, 10 minutes of screen time. Cool moments and cool fights, but I feel like this game definitely could have outgrown the need for him. It's a pretty standard Zelda game for the most part. It feels pretty good when it comes to combat and exploration, but one thing I'm not a fan of is the shitty platforming, but that's just how the Zelda series is. The platforming and parkouring didn't get remotely decent until Skyward Sword. But then they had to create a whole stamina wheel for that, and I don't want to talk about that. So this game is really easy too. Like, definitely the easiest of old Zelda games. All the combat abilities you learn from the Hero Shade, like the finisher, the helm splitter, the shield bash, the back slice, and the quick draw moves, they make every enemy encounter feel like a fucking cakewalk. And also, like, the game is just trying to do its damnedest to make you look cool as fuck, which, I mean, you know, great aura farming Link. The variety of side quests in this game, too, are pretty cool, like collecting bugs around Hyrule to upgrade your wallet size, which is, like, almost required because the game does this thing where if you open up a chest with rupees, if you have a full bag, you have to, like, put the rupee back in the chest. Kind of annoying because my completion brain is telling me that it needs to be finished, but I can't because it won't let me have them. Like, I get like technically it's supposed to be saving it for later, but I don't plan on going back to a dungeon and backtracking just to get it. Like, just to get 50 rupees. Like, it's not fucking worth my time. Another thing that really chafes my nuts are the fact you have to collect 5 pieces of heart in order to get a heart container. Now, in every other Zelda game, it is 4 pieces, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, because that's just the way the games measure health. It's in 4 quarters, okay? That's always been the standard. But for some reason, they just said, fuck that. We're gonna go add 1 more to the set, and so it takes longer to get a new heart. Also, putting 2 heart pieces in every dungeon is kind of annoying. Among the other quests, there's also some pretty goofy ones, like being a circus performer and using your claw shots to be Spider-Man, climbing up these walls. You even get fangirls too. Pussy magnet over here. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite side quests in the game is this thing called the Cave of Ordeals. You see, in the Gerudo Desert, there's like this underground entrance into this massive cave below. And essentially, you fight some monsters and go down to the levels until you find this great fairy. And, I guess she has access to all the other fairy fountains around the world, and which essentially, like the pond areas, after you beat a certain amount of levels, fairies start appearing there, and you have free health. That's awesome. And I gotta say, this is definitely, like, the best part of the combat in the game, because it really does test your skills and see how good you are at this game, combat-wise, and be able to use all your items and all the shit. It's definitely my favorite part of the game. It's really fun. Remember that little dude? So, that little guy essentially makes his own little private business, okay? And once you donate enough money to his little private business, he essentially opens up another store over in Castletown, and this store in Castletown has this really, really strange, like, fucking armor. And, like, the armor itself looks interesting. It's called the magic armor, and what it does is it drains your rupees and makes you invulnerable to damage. It's pretty cool, but, like, you gotta have a fat stack of rupees to actually use this thing, and it drains it so fast, it almost feels, like, not really worth it, to be honest. Like, it's just kind of pointless, in my opinion. Like, I'd rather just use the regular tunic and just fight and get good. I don't know. It's cool, but its uses is kind of it just kind of sucks. The aesthetics of the game are also pretty remarkable, especially for what the GameCube could do at the time. The art style is fantastic until it gets really dark. Like, so dark to the point where you can't see shit. Like, okay, back in the day, this was like during the time period where you had to brighten up your TV screens since developers didn't implement brightness settings in their games. So I actually tried playing this on my nice Samsung monitor. But the problem is that this is old AV cables going into a pristine HDMI. So, yeah, they don't always clash very well. So then I had to play on an older TV to get better image, because the game gets so fucking dark. Okay, that's fantastic. So when you actually see the game, it looks beautiful, and it even sounds better. Oh my god, the music in the game makes me so aroused. I'm not even, like, fucking joking. Like, the soundtrack to this game sounds like some Hans Zimmer shit. Like, it's amazing. With tracks like Hidden Village, Minna's Laments, and so much more. Also, let's not forget the updated version of previous tracks from other games, such as Zora's Domain and Lost Woods. The Hyrule Castle themes, and even Hyrule Field has an epic variation now. This game is truly a work of art. It may have some sore spots and some weird choices when it comes to game design, but overall, though, it's like one of the best games in the series, genuinely. It is, and it's honestly a great entry point into the series as well, as it was for many people in my generation. I grew up with the Wii and GameCube era of Nintendo, so I have a bit of nostalgia for this game and Wind Waker as well. So one day, I definitely will talk about Wind Waker, but that's going to be some time ahead of us. In fact, I think the next Zelda video I might do might be A Link to the Past, because I've been kind of curious to see how that one holds up. But that's for another day, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and you guys have a wonderful day. So, bye!